All right, boys, we are back. Another video today. Today's video, this is the mindset that I essentially want to talk about that is going to make 2025 the best year of your life. These are a lot of mistakes that I've made over the last few years, and I genuinely believe that I've gotten to a point where my mindset is very strong, and I feel like there's a lot that I can offer you to introduce into your own life this year. And if you actually take some of these points and use them in your own life this year, I have no doubt that this will 100% be one of the best years of your life. And I want to get straight into it and just pretty much discuss kind of what it is we need to do to make 2025 an unbelievable year. So without further ado, let's get stuck in. Now, number one is knowing exactly what you want. This is step one. You have to know exactly where you want. You have to have a final destination. Otherwise, your subconscious, your brain will have no idea where to direct you. Most people just do things effortlessly and don't understand where they actually want to go. It's like if you wanted to drive somewhere, you would put something into the sat nav, right? You wouldn't just drive and hope you end up there, because you might get there, but it would probably take a long, long time and you'd have to fuck around and find out, when you could just sit back, create a plan and figure out where the final destination is, so you can then essentially create a very streamlined journey to get you there. And that's the importance of setting a plan and figuring out exactly what it is you want. And that's step one. Sitting down with yourself for however long it needs to take, maybe a day. I did this on New Year's Eve on the 31st. I took the whole day off, went for a long, long walk, did my cardio, got myself into a really good state, listened to some great music, a bit of Hans Zimmer, when I sat down and figured out my yearly plan, what it is I wanted, what it is I'm going to achieve, and exactly how I'm going to do it. So step one is figure out exactly what you want. And there is a trick to this. You have to do so with no limitations. You have to forget who you are at the moment, who you hang around with, what society thinks, what people think is possible for you, and just think what you want with no limitations. If you want to reach the best physique possible and you haven't shown that in the past and you don't think it's possible, still put that as a goal. If you want to become a millionaire and you don't really believe it's possible at this time, put that at a goal. There is no limitations. I want you to figure out exactly what it is you want. That's step one. Figure out exactly what you want. And once you have that, you then need to kind of get into a little bit more, paint a picture, really understand why it is that you want that. Get really, really comfortable with understanding why you actually want something. Because if you don't know why you want something, then why on earth would you dig deep when the times get hard, when you're tired and you don't want to put in the effort? Why on earth would you dig deep and really, really push that extra mile to make sure you do something? If you don't understand why you're doing something, then it becomes very difficult to even keep pushing, if that makes sense. So paint a really big picture, understand why you want it, and really start to see it. Start to now believe, okay, is this possible for me? Do I really believe that I can do this? I'm a big believer of setting things with no limitations, and I think that's something you should definitely do. But believe very clearly with yourself, is this something I can do? And if that is the case, and you truly, truly believe it, then you want to spend this time just kind of seeing yourself in that situation. For example, if it's a case you want to move abroad and you want to set up your life there and you want to start a business, but you're working right now, picture yourself doing it. Imagine yourself in your best shape, living that life, waking up at a certain time, going for walks on the beach and running this business and doing everything you want to do. Just see it, visualize it. That is step one, because the minute you do that, you create this emotion within your subconscious, and you start to feel it, you start to have a reaction, and you start to realize, okay, that's what we can do, that's the end goal. And then there's something there. You now have something tangible, and you're like, okay, that's what we can achieve. Now, once you've done that and you've got the destination, you've got the goal, you know what it is what you want to achieve, you now simply need to reverse engineer the plan. And it doesn't matter how far away you are from said goal, you just need to reverse engineer it in basic steps. For example, if you wanted to become a millionaire, right, you would figure out, okay, first off, if I'm going to become a millionaire, then right, well, I need to be making 100,000 per month in order to make a million per year. Now, how do I get to a point where I make 100,000? Okay, I need to be making 10,000 per year. So then 10,000 per month even. So then you think of that. Okay, and then just start thinking, right, how can I make 10,000? So it's probably a case of making 1,000 per month. And now you have this reverse engineered plan. Start with the first thing. Okay, how can I start making £1,000 per month? And then get to my first 10,000. And then how can I go from that 1,000 to 10,000 a month? And then how can I go from 10,000 a month to 100,000? And then 100,000 to so on and so on. That's just a basic example, but reverse engineering and spending time thinking about how this is possible is a very, very good way to understand where you can start. And I'm going to give you some really, really easy ways to do this. The best way I do things is have a 3-year vision. So, for example, I'm 22 years old now. I'm thinking when I'm 25, where it is that I want to be. Like, what is my life going to look like when I'm 25? In 3 years, it's going to be 2028. What is life going to look like? What do I want to achieve? And that's kind of like my North Star. That's my vision. Cool. I don't spend too much time there because a lot of things can change, but I've got a rough idea. Now, with that in mind, what is it that I want to achieve in this first year? What do I want to achieve this year? And then I start to think, okay, if I do this, will this put me in a good situation? Will this put me the next step to trajectory towards that 3-year vision? Okay, cool. So now you've got that 1-year big goal. And just a little side note, this is something that I think is highly, highly useful. Set bigger goals than you actually think you can achieve. For example, if you are wanting to make, let's say, 3,000 per month, okay, from your business, you're wanting to make 3,000 per month, 10x it. Think, how can I make 30,000 per month? And the minute you start to think about how you can make 30,000, you start acting like that person. You start realizing, okay, this is what I need to do to make 30,000. 3,000 becomes so fucking easy because you're acting like the 30,000 guy. You're doing the things that you would need to do to make 30,000, if that makes sense. The same goes for anything. If you're wanting to get in amazing shape and you're not quite there yet, you need to do your first cut, but you want to think about competing on a bodybuilding stage. What would that bodybuilder do? What would his habits be? Start thinking like this, and then that will allow you to kind of get a really, really good idea of what you can actually achieve in 1 year. Now, once you have that 1-year goal, it's then a case of setting that 1-year goal into quarterly goals. So what can you do in that first 90 days that will then put you in a situation to then essentially hit that goal when it comes to the end of 2025? And then create a monthly plan. So what is it in the target that you can hit for that month that's going to allow you to hit that 90-day goal? The main thing here is just breaking it down into a way that makes it so easy for you to understand where you are now, where you need to get to, and the steps that you need to do in that situation. But the main consensus is understanding where you want to get to, creating a master plan to get there, creating steps on how you're going to do so, and setting the bar high and visualizing it and actually believing that you can achieve that. If you do that, then that's step one. You set the goal and you know exactly where you want to get to. That's what most people do not do, and that's what you need to have. You need to have that big goal, and you need to have it in your mind all the time. Now, the second point is raising your standards and building that new identity. So there's a lot of reasons why you might not believe the goal is possible. It's because your current character, the person you are, does not align with that vision. You might not have the habits of the person who is able to actually achieve that goal. So it's very, very simple. Remember what I said in that last video if you watched it. It is who, not how. It's not how you do things, it's who you have to become in order to actually achieve that. So figure out, if I'm going to make X amount, if I'm going to become this person, if I'm going to do this, then who on earth do I actually need to become? What is his habits? What does he do? Does he go out and go to bed at 2 a.m. and then wake up at 11 a.m. the next day? No, he doesn't. He probably does a lot of different things and he has different habits. And you start to think of those habits and you put them into your life and you realize, okay, he probably wakes up at this time. He probably eats like this. He probably thinks about himself in a very, very high state. Okay, he probably spends X amount of time working, X amount of time on rest, and you start to really paint this picture, like what's his perception, how does he dress himself, how does he look, does he get his hair cut off, does he take care of himself, all of this, and you paint the picture and you understand exactly who you need to become and what is the identity that you eventually need to build. Once you have that and you have those standards, you raise yourself to those standards and you create that as your baseline. They do not drop below that. That is now your baseline, and every time you make a new goal, the baseline just keeps shifting, and that means you have something to fall down to. Because if your standards are so high, it means when you get ill, when something happens, when you don't want to do the work, you have standards that you can fall down to. So your worst day is actually someone's best day because your standards are so high. That is the most important thing about raising your standards and building this new identity. There is a quote I put on my story today. Most people think you'll rise to the expectations of your goals. What's actually going to happen is you're going to fall to the level of your system. Now, this is in business, but it's the exact same with personal development. You will fall to the level of your standards, which means if your standards are low, when things get tough, you will drop to those standards. So if you set your standards high and you have a nice baseline, guess what happens? You drop to those. The main consensus here is raise your standards and create this new identity for yourself. Because if you are chasing a new goal, something you have not done before, the character must change. You must become a different person. And there is a trick to this. Once you have these standards, you then have to sit down with yourself, get on Google Calendar, get on Notion, and create a routine that allows you to effortlessly do those things, to have those habits ingrained in your life. So it's so easy. I've created a video on exactly the routines that I use and how you can actually fall in love with it, how you can actually make something that's so enjoyable for you to follow. For example, if you're wanting to get into the gym and you're wanting to train every single day, create that routine that allows you to have that 1 to 2 hours of training per day and that time to then relax and enjoy yourself. So it becomes very easy for you to get those gym sessions in, but also enjoy your day so it's not a complete burden on your life. That way you're going to do it sustainably, and that way you can use it as a benchmark to then build more habits and more habits every time you set a new goal, if that makes sense. Most importantly, raise your standards, change your identity, and essentially become someone better if you're going to reach a better goal, if that makes sense. Next piece of advice, spending time sharpening the saw. I read this in a book. It was one of the best things I ever read this year. Most people, including myself, just work all day, and they never actually spend time in their own head thinking about, one, the goal that they actually want to achieve and visualizing and reflecting on what's going on, and two, having the actual mental space to really have these breakthroughs that you need. Now, what I've noticed in the last year or so is when you're consistently working, when you're working in your business, when you're just constantly doing things, you get things done and you are productive, but there is not the time to essentially think and reflect and make these massive leaps that actually make you the most amount of progress. And what I've learned now is you need a balance of both. You need time to move your business forward, you need time to put in that needle moving work, but you also need time to spend a period of your day just looking and reflecting on where you're going wrong and what you can improve, and visualizing where you want to get to and understanding who you need to be, and just consistently iterating and adapting this. This is something that is so valuable that most people don't realize, and it's called sharpening the saw, sharpening the axe. There's a good old saying: if you were to give me an axe, if you were to give me 6 hours to cut down a tree, I would spend 4 hours sharpening the axe. Most people would just fucking hit the tree, get with an axe all the time and just go for it. But the smart person would sit back, sharpen it for 4 hours and do it twice as quick. And the reason why is because most people, including myself, I did this, we just spend time working and just like focused on the goal, but we don't actually think, okay, are we doing something wrong here? Is this something that we could adapt to just make this a little bit more enjoyable, a little bit more streamlined? And when you consistently do this and you've got a daily habit of this, you'll actually find that you won't burn out, you'll get to your goal quicker, and life will just be a lot easier, and it will become so much more enjoyable, which is the most important thing, because you don't want to burn out, you don't want to become a slave to your own ambition. That is the worst thing you could possibly do. So remember, spend time sharpening the saw. It is crucial, if not just as important, maybe even more important. And it's a case of just having that structure that allows you to have that kind of needle moving work block, but then that time to reflect. The best advice I could give you that I've learned this year is focusing on the one thing that will move you forward, because you can do loads of things in a day. You can do 8 to 10 things, and what I've found is you don't feel that sense of accomplishment. You don't get that winning feeling, which you need to have every single day. You need to feel like you put in a good day's work. And if you're a slave to your own ambition, if you're wanting to do everything and anything, then you will consistently do things and you will burn yourself out, and you won't have that time to actually visualize and think what it is I want. So the best advice is focus on the one needle moving thing, the 1 to 2 tasks maybe, and then allow yourself that time to rest and recuperate. Go and watch a movie in the evening, go and spend some time with your friends and family, and then go to bed early, do it all over again, and you will feel that 1, you're so much more rested, 2, the work's so much more enjoyable, and 3, everything just gets done at a better standard. That's what I've noticed. And this mindset where you think that you just need to be consistently doing things is actually detrimental. You need to sometimes change this mindset. Maybe at the start, when you're just starting something new, when you're starting a business, there needs to be those days, 100%. But when we're talking about the long-term game, the 10-year plan, you want to have a shift in mindset where you realize sharpening the saw, spending time, actually reflecting and just having that time and prioritizing your rest and focusing on your mental state and being the best version of yourself, the happiest, most non-stressed version of yourself. That's what you want to chase. That's what I found, at least. Great piece of advice to take. I'd highly recommend it. Finally, getting out of your comfort zone. Build the habit of doing the uncomfortable thing. It's a sign from the gods, in my opinion. When you don't want to do something, it's a clear sign that you have to do it. It will build your character and it will make things easier. It will create that baseline standard, as we spoke about. Perfect example is, right, you're down to go for a run, okay? You've got on your Wednesday calendar that we're going to do a 5K today. It starts raining, it starts snowing. The easy thing to do would be to sit at home or go on a treadmill or do whatever it is. And your brain would tell you loads of reasons why. We did legs yesterday, so maybe we should rest and we should do it another day. Maybe because it's snowing and because it's raining, we could get ill, and that could be pretty detrimental to our progress in the gym and all of this. What I've realised is that your brain just tries to protect you and just stop you getting out of your comfort zone. But what happens is if you do not listen to it and you get out of your comfort zone, what will happen is you will become this new version of yourself, and you will get used to doing hard things. Hard things just become easy. It becomes your baseline. So when something does happen again, some sort of challenge, you're used to it because you have built the habit of doing uncomfortable things. And it comes down to the case of thinking less and just simply doing more. When you have that thought in your head that you need to go for that run, but it starts raining and snowing and you don't want to, just stop thinking, put your shoes on, just do it automatically and leave the house, just run, then go think about it after. And you'll realise 9 out of 10 times, you will feel amazing after, and you'll be wondering, why was I even contemplating about not doing that? Why was I thinking that? That is the most important thing you can do. Build that habit, and then everything becomes easy. You will get so good at posting YouTube videos, posting stuff that you do not want to do, because you consistently are in the habit of doing shit that you do not like doing. You're getting out of your comfort zone. And these are the 3-4 key pieces of advice that I feel would hit home. There's loads of different things you could do to improve your mindset, but I feel like these are the things that I have found the most useful this year. And I feel like implementing this is going to make 2025 a fucking amazing year. I'm very, very excited for it. Building these habits will 100% change the trajectory of your year. And I think this is definitely something to take on board. Another thing is taking massive action. And like I said, thinking less and doing more. It's what you do in this life. It's not what you don't do. The more you do, the more you get out. So, with that being said, stop thinking so much, start doing more, and create that plan, create that goal that you want to achieve. Just have it in your mind, visualize it, understand it, create that plan, then find out who you need to become in order to actually achieve that goal. What are the standards that person has? Create that baseline, never dip below it. Okay, now we've done that. Now get used to getting out your comfort zone. Build that habit of doing things and taking massive action every single day. I swear to God, if you do that, if you have the goal, if you visualize and you believe it, if you have the standards, if you are the person who can actually achieve the goal, and you have the habit of taking massive action and you do things when you do not want to, then you have the mindset to pretty much achieve whatever it is you want. The most important thing is just staying on that path, staying in your own lane. Another thing we're going to add, actually, which isn't even on the fucking slide deck, is don't listen to people who are not where you want to be. If you believe so much in your goal and you have done everything we spoke about and you visualize it and you actually understand what it is you want, then forget what anyone's ever said about not achieving it. If they said, oh, if he's not that guy or whatever, understand exactly what you want and do it regardless. Prove people wrong, because sometimes the person that can actually ruin everything for yourself is you. You get in your own head because you listen to other people's opinion, you ask people's advice, especially people who are not in your situation, and they only know you as you. If they're your close friends, even your family, they're maybe there to protect you and tell you, okay, maybe you shouldn't do this because of this and that. But if you spend this time very well, correctly, understanding exactly what you want and exactly why you deserve it and why you're going to get it and how you're going to achieve it, then it doesn't matter, because you have the vision, God gave you that vision, and no one else can take that away from you. So you have to stay very hard and clear on that path and understanding exactly how you're going to do it, who you need to become, why you deserve it, and it's making that habit of just taking fucking massive action and getting it done. That's what I think needs to be done in order to create a mindset that essentially allows you to just absolutely smash it in 2025 and conquer this year. I thought about it. I thought about what are the things that I can include in this video, and I think that's pretty much hit the nail on the head. So I really hope that was useful. I'm trying to make these videos short, but I keep waffling. It's 20 minutes, so I might speed this one up. I hope that was really useful. That's today's video. We're back tomorrow. Again, daily videos every single day. I hope that was useful. If you are wanting to learn a little bit more or are unsure about kind of where you want to get to in 2025, whether that be with your physique, whether that be with your business, feel free to drop me a DM on Instagram or actually fill out the type form below. You can take my free fitness quiz and you can essentially learn exactly how I've got into my shape and how I built these habits, how I built this mindset, and we can have a chat and potentially help you make 2025 your best year. I hope that was very, very useful. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. All the best.